Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Focus TV. We're so happy to be back with you guys. Hope everybody's staying safe. As always, we're joined tonight by Octavia Wyatt. We got Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., Wilson Tarpe Jr. We got a lot to get through tonight, as always. You guys follow along on social. You already know we have a guest with us. It's a reoccurring guest. You guys know who this is. But before that, I want to pass it on to Cardell so you guys can find out what that video was to start the show, because I wasn't in that gym. He was.
Well, that sweatbox of a gym. It was a throwback. It was like 97 outside, but in there it was 110. But you know that's what they call for these days. But that was the district basketball club combine. They had their 15s, 16s, and 17 and other teams in there to just honestly their first practice since everything got shut down. And they invited selected media and scouts to come out and check out the teams and what they had to offer. Their plan is to kind of have some scrimmages with other local AAU programs to try to get their kids as much exposure as possible. Man, it's a lot of like I just said before the show started, Montgomery County pretty much shut down all fall and winter sports. So it's going to affect a lot of kids that don't have offers or just have interest. A lot of them, it may end up being that way, and no fault of their own. They didn't get a chance to really get another shot at proving themselves. And this is kind of another reminder, even though this is unusual times, this is another reminder that when you have an opportunity to show what you can do, you best take full advantage of it, man. And, it wasn't just them. I got a chance to go out to, Virginia with DC Premier and check out their combine as well. They had their 15s, their 16s, and 17 and under as well doing, the similar thing, just practicing and then scrimmaging. They have theirs live stream, so coaches all around the country can check them out, see what it is. And a couple kids got offers off of it. So all in all, man, much appreciation to the district, and DC Premier for inviting me out. Some great talent on hand. It was very well coached, very well structured. It wasn't just roll the balls out and just play. A lot, it was a lot of drills, a lot of going over sets, how basketball should be. And then they got to the playing part. So go over to finestmag.com and check out, the standouts from each one.
All right, get into our guests this evening. You guys have seen him on the show before. I want to welcome Robert Pettis back to the show. What's going on, Rob?
What's going on?
All right, so everyone's been dealing with the pandemic differently. You have the wonderful job or the task that you chose to undertake this year of trying to figure out how to still have a league in the most safe way possible during these times. So, without further ado, let's get to it. What led you to the decision to choose to go ahead with year 11?
Honestly, it was a lot. It wasn't just for the basketball, but it's just too much going on in the area, from killings and just dudes just being outside and just doing too much nonsense. So like saying the only piece for the DMV community is basketball, sports. I said basketball, sports, but during the summer it's basketball, and it's just a lot going on for me. So I was like, I took my time to find a bubble for summer league. So I took my time to find a bubble. So I just decided to make sure I looked at my crossed out everything, crossed my T's, make sure that I would go with the right precautions to make sure that everybody can take care of if we were going to go with the league. So it took me a while to come to the decision, because I've seen a lot of leagues over the actually canceling their league. So I know a lot of them are in high schools, a lot of them in colleges. So a lot of them don't have private owned establishments around the area. So I just reached out to a few of the private owned establishments in the area, and just told them my idea, told them different things that I'm trying to do, and what I want to bring to it. And they, we, kind of came to agreement to, let's try it.
All right, my follow-up question to that, and this is something we talked about past weeks, and pro sports are dealing with this too. What do you think is going to be like in there? We're not having fans in there, so what's that going to be like for the players? It will be broadcast, but there will not be fans.
As we've had games with nobody in the stands, where it was just us, me, you, Wilson, and me, Octavia, and Wilson. It was just us just in there. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, it to us, it's old days. You know what I mean? But for them, I mean, like now they're able to actually broadcast. You know, for the last few years, we were able to broadcast because we had the NBA sanction, and so that kind of took a lot of things really wanted to do and we create. So I mean, I think the product of basketball will be better now with no fans, just with your peers in the gym and just straight basketball. That's it. You may have the other teams watching, but that's really it. You ain't got to worry about your cousins in the stands. You ain't got to worry about trying to impress. It's just you just playing basketball. That's it.
All right, Ray or Cardell?
Yeah, I had a question. Yeah, so just when you think about the tradition of summer league basketball in DC, like taking it back to the Urbo, the Kenner League, even with the Goodman, the Watts, and the Pitts, like you're going into year 11 now, man. Just talk about how it feels to just be amongst that lineage and just a part of that history.
It's unreal, honestly. Because just being a part of the street ball community, like I said, I played in Watts, I played in the Farms, I played at Uptown, in Parkview, the Greg Jones leagues. I played street ball. You know what I mean? So just being able to start my own league 11 years ago. I didn't think I would be here today, honestly, and then being up there with the the top tier leagues that are out there. So. It's definitely I'm blessed, definitely blessed to be able to still, be able to have a summer league and have kids and peers and pros just come back and just want to play.
And what about you? We showing the highlight now. You're branching out doing the yearly thing with the Brunson League. Like, do you have any plans to expand further than that?
Yeah. There have been talks with Sean from the Brunson League and a few other leagues, throughout the country. Just trying to do, like I say, it's fun to have, as I call it, battle of the cities. Because I say, there's no point in me playing nobody in the DMV besides Baltimore. Like I'm not playing against the Goodman. Right. I'm not playing against. No, I'm not playing against nobody because we all have the same players. I mean, I say DC and Baltimore. That's before my time. That's something that's a rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
DC, New York, like it's something bigger. You know what I mean? It's like it's the basketball community. You know what I mean? Like say who's the Mecca? But like who is it? So just having those type of battles. Would love to take it. Where it's like, shoot, have 50 states, you know what I mean? We have 50 states, so why we can't do one big tournament? There are talks of there is going to be a national pro-am tournament that's been going around, but we haven't got the invite, so it's fine. I mean, if we don't get the invite, we'll do our own. So that's not a problem.
I appreciate you, man.
First off, Rob, happy birthday. Happy 40th birthday. You getting up there, man. So, how much?
Hey.
But first of all, how much do you expect the level of competition to rise due to, the live broadcast? Because see now, you know how highlights are. They only show the good, but now everybody will be able to see the bad. In a sense, you would be the only show in town. It's even more of a spotlight on guys.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a lot of interest in the league, and it's I don't think people understand what the league really is. The slogan is "Bring your A game, not your name." Like, no matter who you are, you gotta come to play every single time you step in the gym because nobody will will drop 30 on you or you'll get dunked on. But like, who is that exactly? I mean, like he don't have a name, but he's playing hard versus the guys who have names in other places and everything. So I think it's going to expose a lot of people. It's going to expose a lot of people and it's going to humble a lot. I think it's going to be I think it's going to make a lot. Let's see. 95% more competitive. Let's just say that. I won't say 100%. I'll say 95%.
I got you. I understand.
You're gonna have
go ahead.
Your J-Dubs in there acting like you don't care. So you're gonna have your usual suspects in there with their cool stuff. That's just who they are. So you can't. Not gonna be 100%. It's gonna be like 95%. So
I got you. You already know some of our viewers are watching and automatically thinking, is this wise due to the pandemic to even have the league? What precautions are you taking to keep everyone that's involved safe?
The first step is before you walk, just like everything else. Like I said, I've seen, if I've, at one point, the only thing that was on TV for, in the States was wrestling, and they were doing scans. They weren't having any fans, but they were still able to compete. So later on in the months, they would show little clips of how they would allow do the scans for you come in. If you don't have the temperature, then you could go in. If you did, you had to go out. So we're gonna try to take the same precautions as everybody else. The TBT and the rest of them, do the temperature checks as you walk in. You're gonna sign waivers when you walk in. Try to make sure it's optional to wear masks. I'm gonna say if you want to wear masks, I'm not gonna tell you no. Like that's on you. Like I said, it's your health. Like you're coming to play, so you can do like dudes wear sweatpants underneath their shorts. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. They wear their shorts and wear sweatpants. I'm gonna make sure that everybody is 6 feet apart as much as possible. If they're not playing, if you're not playing, have a mask. So like I say, the bubble that we're in is big enough where we're able to social distance and make sure everybody is is safe. As much as they want to. Like I said, they're grown men, they're grown women. So if they want to be up on top of somebody having a conversation, that's on them. Again, people still go out to clubs. People still do a lot of stuff. We set the rules. If they break them, that's on them. That's their choice. But we're going to make sure we implement the rules as much as possible.
Understood. It's been games like live stream, maybe here and there, but it has never been a summer league where it's been broadcast like throughout the entirety of the league. I think this might be the first for the DMV. But with this kind of being the only show in town, it won't just be a local thing. I'm pretty sure it's going to probably be other eyes from around the country tuning in as well. I mean, just talk about how big this is for the league in general and, the area. They get a glimpse of what DMV Summer League basketball is all about.
I kind of kid with some some people that work the staff, and I say we like in the middle of the East Coast West Coast battle. You know what I mean? We like the South. We like Andre 3000 Outkast. Like I say, we got something to say. Y'all can think we the stepchild, but we run the most competitive. With the other two. So just like. That people actually see what we have to offer. It's still the same talent, but the quality of the referent, the quality of the league, quality of the games is we really not with the BS. We trying to cater to the players. We just want to make sure it's good basketball. You know what I mean? A lot of leagues don't have good basketball. It's just basketball. They just want to do it just to play and cater to the players. But no, we want to make sure we cater to everybody. You know what I mean? Like say, make sure people have good film so they can send off to school or send off to overseas connects or just anything. So we definitely just want to implement good basketball, and with being broadcast, people can actually see what we have to offer.
And my last question for you is the unique thing about the P.I.T.S league is that sets it apart from other leagues is y'all have a women's division. Not many other leagues around the country have that, if at all. Just talk about the division and the growth of the women's division, because I've seen it grow the last few years more and more to where its name is.
Yeah, I mean, like I say on all my interviews, I love the women's division. It's grown forever. I remember when we first started, I tried to get Octavia to come out there, and she looked at me like I was crazy. But that's when we were just trying to get it out there. At one point it was all the women playing flag football, and that's when kickball got big and tackle football, and seeing a resurgence of them coming back and saying, all right, cool, we're done with that, we want to come play again. And it's just like we start off with 6 teams, the first year. Then we have 8 teams last year. This year I was trying to get more teams, but it they they play good basketball. They bring a crowd. Their games are competitive. It does get a little feisty sometimes, but it's just good basketball. Like I say, there's no prima donnas. Everybody's really just trying to win and super competitive. Just add a net to the P.I.T.S league, kind of make the men step their game up. So they get mad at me because the women's game is always the last game for the championship. Like I love the close with that. Like I don't want to sit there and watch a men's game because it's just like I don't know. For the last 3 years, the men's games have just been like blah, and then the women's games is like super competitive every single time. Buzzer beaters or just coming down to the wire. 8-0 run comeback. Like it's always a storyline with the women's game. With the men's game, it's always like slated, like bad. Like I think 2 years ago, the team was down. They were down. JNR's mom was down 15. Then they turn around and win by 20. Like, how does that happen? So like with it's always something. It's always a story. Well, the last fall league we had a buzzer beater in the championship game. Then last year it was just super competitive all the way down to the wire, where it was just like 1-on-1 calls, free throws here. So like the women's division is just, it's something that needs to be in every league, honestly.
I definitely agree to that. Definitely way more competitive. Ray, anybody have any more questions?
No, I'm good.
Yo, wrong. How would the schedule play out? Will it be weekend games daily? Like how would all that play out?
I think we'll do weekday games, all weekday games. We'll be able to probably do probably everybody get to pay probably 2 to 3 times a week. No weekend games. Because really ain't nothing to do going on right now. So we can make it happen with the bubble we have. We're able to have multiple games. So it'll work for everybody getting to play and just getting seen and just getting all the games in.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, before you go, Rob, I want to make sure you tell everybody where they can follow the league along at on social.
You can follow on Twitter and Instagram at the P.I.T.S League. 1 T. It's the THE P.I.T.S P.I.T.S LEAGUE. On Facebook, it's the P.I.T.S P.I.T.S League on there, and then we are going to actually probably start putting content on the YouTube page that we have shut down for like 5 years. So it's the P.I.T.S 1 T.
All right. Well, appreciate you, man. You have a great evening. You and the fam, stay safe. We're going to take our first break, and when we get back, Octavia, we got NFL coming up. You're watching the Focus TV. See you guys in just a minute. All right, folks, welcome back to the Focus TV. Octavia, what's going on in your league, man?
A whole lot of stuff. Everything is just going crazy. I know we talked about last week the back and forth between the NFL and the NFLPA. Trying to figure out protocols. This past Sunday, a lot of NFL stars took to Twitter to basically voice their frustrations with the league and their lack of security and health protocols with the upcoming season. Notable players like, of course, J.J. Watt's been very active. Russell Wilson, Drew Brees. There's been so many of them who put out tweets asking for these safety precautions to be put in place. Hashtag we want to play. So as the week came on, there were numerous meetings with NFL higher ups, meetings between NFL and NFLPA Association. And as of now, it seems like they were able to get some of the things that they wanted. The biggest focal point was the fact that there was no mandate of how they were going to do testing. If you look at it in a bigger scale, to me, it was all about money. Players wanted to be tested every day, and the league was pushing for every other day. So that was a big thing. The league has now agreed to do testing every day for at least the first 2 weeks of training camp. How they're breaking it down is basically they're daily testing for a minimum of 2 weeks. It can be adjusted after based on the positivity rate. Also, players will need multiple negative tests before they're allowed to be inside of team facilities, which they did start doing today with, I believe it was the Houston Texans, and there was another team, their rookie reported to camp today. The Texans and the Chiefs, their rookies reported today. So they're starting testing there. So to me, it sounds like that they're just going in to get tested and then they're leaving again. They have to get multiple negative tests before they're allowed to enter the facility. Also, players who test positive must wait at least 10 days or have 2 negative tests to return. If the testing that they do daily for the 2 weeks within training camp, if the testing shows below a 5% positivity rate for a sustained period of time, they will then move to every other day testing, but they have to get to that first. So they will start off with the 2 weeks of everyday testing. Also, another big focal point for them was preseason. It was reported weeks ago that the league did decide to cut it down from 4 games to 2 games, but the players were still pushing for no preseason at all. Most of their concerns was a lot of times, as we all know with preseason games, big players aren't playing, it's meaningless games, and a lot of them just didn't feel like they wanted to take that risk. So the NFL still pushed a lot for that, to me, again, money. But they have now offered to cut the preseason completely this year. And it looks like that the NFLPA should be able to agree to that. I did just see on ESPN that they are currently, or they just finished having a phone conference in regards to these things. So I'm sure we'll get more reports about that later. Another small thing with that is they did initially, usually at training camps, your roster can be 90 players. They have cut it to 80. So a lot of teams are going to have to scale back on their training camp. So training camp to me is going to be very, 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 very important this year, especially with no preseason, because a lot of players, that's where if they're on the bubble or they're the cusp, or if they think they can make the practice squad, they get those opportunities in training camp, but they really get the bigger opportunities during preseason games. And since there are no preseason games, they have to rely heavily on what they do in training camp and those who just come out of college tape that they have, but more than likely it has to be what they do in training camp. So that's going to be a big thing. My biggest concern really just with watching sports as a whole this past week, I know you guys will probably touch on it later within the NBA section, that no players in the NBA, tested positive in this latest round that they had, which is showing that the bubble concept is working. I'm just concerned because there is no bubble concept going on in the NFL. It's definitely a bit tougher for them to do it with a 53-man roster. They're in so many different cities. It's tough, but I feel like they need to have some type of protocol because we're doing all this to start the season, but if somebody tests positive during the season, what is in place to either keep the season moving, or is the season going to come at a standstill? which is another big point for the NFLPA. I don't think they've come out and decided on this as well, or what are the protocols if somebody does test positive and they're not able to play? Are they not getting their game checks? Are they going to have some type of security, when it comes to that? So I'm sure that's still stuff that they're working out. I'm a little disappointed in the league. I'm not surprised because of their track record, but I'm a little disappointed in the league because football has had the longest to get this together. They've been in the off season. Their off season started right before the pandemic started, so they've had months to kind of try to figure out what they can do. It seems like they just were banking on the fact that by this time we would be out of this pandemic and none of this would matter. And as we're seeing that that's not the case, so now they're scrambling to try to figure out what kind of things they can put into place to make sure that players are safe throughout this. Just some other small things as well. The NFL is planning to allow players to have decals on the back of their helmets bearing names or initials of victims of systemic racism, police violence, similar to what the NBA is doing, but they are keeping it to decals on the actual helmet as opposed to putting it on an actual jersey like the NBA is doing. But, for me, it's small steps with the NFL because as we all know where they have been in this conversation for the past couple of years, baby steps, I guess, is where we are at this point. Decals is where they'll start at, Not that anybody's going to be able to see these small decals on the back of somebody's helmet. So I don't really know the thought process behind that, but that's what they're doing. It seems like they're just trying to do small things to appease people and not really get down to the root of what we're asking for. They're singing Lift Every Voice at the beginning of one of the games when the season starts. These are all things that we didn't ask for, which is a running trend that I'm seeing among companies everywhere doing things to try to make, a point. This is just the latest in a long line with them. So, before today, as of today, 95 players have tested positive for the coronavirus. A lot of them, of course, have not been named. The big names that came out and said, Ezekiel Elliott, Rams center Brian Allen, Broncos pass rusher Von Miller, Rams left tackle Andrew Whitworth, all had it at one point. HIPAA violations. We shouldn't know all these details, but we do. But that's what's going on as far as the virus. Two quick things that I just want to say. Of course, veteran defensive end Super Bowl champ Michael Bennett says he's retiring after 11 years, in the league. So he's hanging it up. He won a Super Bowl with Seattle, with the Legion of Boom. So he's hanging it up after 11 years, and we'll see how that goes. He vows to still fight, systemic racism, police brutality with his time off. One thing I did mention last week where Philadelphia city officials decided to make sure that there are no fans in the stands for Eagles or Philly games this year. It also shows that the New York City officials have now followed suit. There will be no players and there will be no fans in the stands during Giants or Jets games this year as well. So, like I said last week, I expected more cities to follow, and that's just the first one that I've heard so far. So I'm pretty sure a lot more are going to probably come to the same conclusion. I know Rams coach owner stated that if fans aren't allowed in the games, he's not coming either. But you're the owner, so you'll be in the box anyway. So I get you on solidarity and all, but this is not the same thing. Apples and oranges here. And it's notable to. Yeah, the NFL is a whole mess right now. I'm trying to tell y'all, it's a whole mess. And it's notable for me that, although the Giants and the Jets don't technically play in New York, they play in New Jersey. But New York governor is there's 10 different states that are on a list where basically they aren't allowed in New York, with everything going on because there are different hot spots. So there's travel bans for them. I don't know how that's going to work out if other cities and states do the same thing with people coming from different areas. They're not in a bubble. They're going back and forth home. to the store. There's no protocol. So that's why my biggest concern is like, what are they going to do? They have to try to form some type of bubble. I could even see if they did different bubbles in different sections of, the United States to kind of like, okay, this team has to stay in this hotel for this time, swap over, but it's going to be tough. I don't know what they're going to do. I would have to really sit down and think hard, and I'm glad I don't have these decisions to make, but decisions do need to be made. And who knows if they're actually going to make them. So that's what's going on in the NFL. It's a little rough for them. And I don't know if you guys heard, we talked about him last week. He got 80 mil, Chris Jones from the Chiefs. He is the new LeBron. In case you guys did not know, he is predicting that the Chiefs will win not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 rings.
Okay.
5. They're going to have 5 parades. It's going to be a dynasty.
Okay.
He said it here first. So we'll see. And I mean, you got Pat there. The Madden ratings came out. A lot of people are up in arms about the Madden ratings. Josh Allen is a 99, which is the best arm strength. And Patrick Mahomes is basically saying, line it up. Let's go shot for shot and see who has a strong arm. I would definitely like to see that.
Vic put that bounty on his head. And that rock real sweet.
Shout out to Chris.
It's on now. It was like that. All right. That's how you know somebody ain't used to winning. They start tripping because they win.
Hey, look, because I'm just sitting here thinking like,
sounded like Octavia when she came in the studio at the Philly one. And just all this evil and green just everywhere.
I mean, that's every day, first of all. I almost put it on today, but I refrained. Okay.
Oh, wow. Such great restraint. But we're going to move on to Jamaal Haywood.
In my drawer.
I'm glad it stayed there. In the 9-4-50 breakdown, this week, Jamaal is demo wing. Hezzy pull-up options coming off screens again. Hezzy pull-up options coming off screens. Then we're going to our second break when we come back. Some quick league updates. And like Cardell told you guys at the beginning of the show, you saw a district club basketball combine highlights. We're going to end it with DC Premier Combine highlights. You're watching the Focus TV. Enjoy this week's edition of the 9-4-50 breakdown.
Today we're going to go over some Hezzy pull-up options off screens. So the chrome there is going to be my screen. 2 options, snaking off of the screen and just coming off the screen regularly. So, start here. Screen here. I'm on the outside toward the sideline. So, sideline screen action. Come off the screen. Hezzy pull-up. Down. That come off the screen here. Coming off. That foot going towards the defender as if it's going for a layup. That hand going towards the defender in the basket as if it's going for a layup. Okay. Come off the screen. Up. Shot. Next one. Off the screen. In the safety. Now, I snake, right foot, going towards the defender in the rim, right hand, going towards the defender in the rim. Those are the 2 options that we're breaking down today off the screen using the Hezzy pull-up. Today we're going to go over some Hezzy pull-up options off screens. So the chrome there is going to be my screen. 2 options, snaking off of the screen and just coming off the screen regularly. So, start here. Screen here. I'm on the outside toward the sideline. So, sideline screen action. Come off the screen. Hezzy pull up. Break it down. foot going towards the defender as if I'm going for a layup. Left hand going towards the defender in the basket as if I'm going for a layup. Okay. Come off the screen. Up. Shot. Next one. Off the screen. On the safety. So, come off the screen now. I snake. Right foot. Going towards the defender in the rim. Right hand. Going towards the defender in the rim. Those are the two options that we're breaking down today off the screen using the hezzy pillow.
All right. Once again, as always, just want to, just say thank you to Jamaal Haywood for continuing to knock this installment out each and every week. Mid-pandemic too, man, knocking these out. Hope someone takes something away from it each and every week. Gonna pass this on to Cardell, man. NBA update. The floor is yours, man.
All right, I'm gonna start with the hometown team, the Washington Wizards. Obviously, they're down in Orlando in a bubble, getting ready for things to kick off next week. So they've been releasing, actual practice footage of, some of their scrimmages, and just a couple notes from those scrimmages. Definitely want to highlight Rui Hachimura. He's been killing everybody. It's been bad, man. Like his confidence now after he got some reps and got healthy over the pandemic. Because remember, he was banged up right before the pandemic hit. His confidence is through the roof. He's killing the transition, getting off the glass, taking it coast to coast, dunking on guys. Everybody know he's a mid-range monster already. But the thing that's impressing me the most is how he's taking his time, and against smaller opponents who may try to get up under him, in practice, he's going right to the post and just it's been homicide. He in John Wick mode down there, and that's refreshing to see, man. I don't think people really understand how much skill this guy has. And yeah, he may not be the overly most athletic wing in the league that we're accustomed to seeing, with the LeBrons and stuff, or KDs of the world or whatnot. But what he brings, he understands what he has, and he's smart enough to just maximize what he is. And it's not far fetched to say, man, this dude could be a 20-8 guy real soon. He's that good. You know what I mean? Also, another young player for the Wizards standing out, Troy Brown. The thing that's standing out actually is his defense, man. He's ripping a lot of those Wizards point guards at half court, going coast to coast. And, he does have, Wilson know what I'm talking about when we saw him in the draft. He has that penny flair when he's in the open court with the handles going behind his back, all the shifty moves. And, the way he passes the ball, his vision, is very similar in that aspect of the game, man. Just seeing his growth, I think will be pivotal because they need him to grow up. If they going to even – the thing about this bubble, you hear a lot of NBA players saying it, like everybody has a shot because of the uncertainty of guys getting in shape and where they at confidence-wise and whatnot. It's wide open. So I remember Boogie Cousins, he said last week he wouldn't be surprised to see a team that most people are not even expecting go on a run. You know what I mean? And, that's saying a lot. What we're going to see. And another name that may shock y'all, Isaac Bonga. Yeah, I know, man. Look, man, don't laugh. Look, boy out there in practice. He in practice being a point forward. Real talk. I'm looking at the clips. I had to refresh it. I'm thinking I'm seeing something else. Maybe I got the wrong video, but he's out there being a point forward, bringing the ball up, hitting threes, getting after, being versatile on defense and guarding the guards on switches and stuff with no problem. It's like, man, I didn't know he had that in him. But like, any player, man, young player, it takes reps, it takes time. And I think they starting to get that out of him. Ish Smith has been real impressive. I can't lie. I know he's a vet, he should be, but he's running the show beautifully in practice. No one can really keep him in front of him. He's fast as hell. Everybody knows that. But the thing is, he's passing the hell out the rock and transitioning in the half court. And bigs like Thomas Bryant, Mo Wagner. All they gotta do is just finish, man. He's setting the table up for them nicely. And it's a nice little battle between him and former UConn standout, Shabazz Napier. I know Wilson, keep up with the UConn guys and whatnot, but they going back and forth in practice, man. So, it's just good to see, those guys taking it serious. They're not just going through the motions like, let's just get these 8 games out the way, go back to the crib. They playing hard, they working, and they're going to try to make a run for it. On a national scale, just a few, newsworthy notes and whatnot. Memphis will finish the season without Justice Winslow, who obviously never played the game for the Grizzlies after they got him from the Heat. He fell absorbing contact during the intra-squad scrimmage. They said he suffered a hip injury, which will cause him to miss the rest of the season, which is unfortunate. They trying to make the playoffs too. Just such a young team, and he was kind of counted on to be a big piece of that. So guy that can do the little point forward stuff as well. He played the 1-2 as well as defended, and some matchups. So they're gonna have to adjust and just try to fill that void, man. Sad that he suffering injuries, but what it is. It's part of the game. Also on Tuesday, the league unveiled a new court down there in Orlando. The Black Lives Matter is written on the floor in large, glossy black print. Instead of having game broadcasters at the table on the sideline and center court, it will be enclosed in plexiglass and panels, creating separation between them and the players as well. The players and coaches bench basically comprises of dozens of spaced out folding chairs, each measured to be 6 feet away from the next chair. That's how serious the NBA is taking this. NFL take notes. The NFL court is the entire court is surrounded by large video screens with virtual fans and signs like "make noise" and all that, which is usually shown on the jumbotron, could pop up, which is in line with what they said from the beginning. They're gonna try to still give fans an experience, even though they can't come to the games. Another note is the NBA informed teams Tuesday that the NBA draft lottery has been changed from August 25th to August 20th. So far, the NBA draft will still be conducted on October 16th, as previously reported. The memo informed teams of 105 players that received the most votes to be included in the league's annual combine, a number that will eventually be whittled down to 70. The combine, which takes place in Chicago in mid-May, in concert with the draft lottery, still hasn't been officially rescheduled, but the league said in the memo that it is still evaluating potential dates and formats to hold the event. The league also stressed that teams should still operate under the assumption that college players who enter their name in the draft process will have until August 3rd to decide whether to remove their name and go back to school. So the original list you may see, that's why they said it will whittle down to 70. The original list you may see won't be the final list. I wouldn't take the list serious until about August 3rd, like they say, when everybody make the decision to either stay or go back to school. And last, some big news, Minnesota Timberwolves owner Glenn Taylor is exploring the sale of the Timberwolves. He confirmed to The Athletic on Tuesday that he has retained the Rain Group, the Global Merchant Bank, to look into a potential sale of the team he has owned since '95. He told The Athletic that he will not sell the team to a group that wants to move it out in Minneapolis. He said people have inquired about it, but they also say they want to move the team. But he said, they won't be a candidate. We made that clear. He's seeking at least $1.2 billion for the franchise right now. It wasn't immediately clear how many groups have expressed interest in buying the Wolves, but former Minnesota star Kevin Garnett, he posted on social media that he is part of one of the groups that are trying to buy him. And I personally, being a fan of his and all that, really hope he gets the team. Because I know he'll do well. I know he's passionate about it. I know it's close to his heart, and I know he'll put the pieces in there to get that franchise popping like when he was there. Being on the verge of doing something special. On you, Wilson. That's all I have.
No problem, man. WNBA update. Ray, what we got going on in the national scene?
Oh man, it's almost the 11th hour. They tip off on Saturday.
Yes, they do.
We're gonna have three games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. Just get all 12 teams in action. They're pretty much settled in by now. They've been in the bubble for a while. They're seems like everybody's pretty adjusted. All the teams have had their media day, and ladies, it's just a sense of excitement. It started off kind of naturally. People were apprehensive. Just getting adjusted to the new environment. Of course, it was well publicized about the accommodation issues that some of the ladies were having, but all seems to be well at this point. But Yeah, and some teams that have started getting up and down, they say it's the first time they've done 5-on-5 stuff, since everything has gone down. They've had some inter-squad scrimmages. People are looking pretty sharp. So just expect them to hit the ground running. Like they've had an advantage because their season wasn't halted. It was just kind of delayed. So they pretty much were in the midst of their off season when the pandemic hit. So they were able to their adjustment period wasn't as crucial as the NBA was, because they were in the midst of things, basically going down the home stretch and pretty much shut everything down and started back up again. But yeah, just some notable names that'll be missing from this season. John Cole Jones, Liz Cambage, Natasha Cloud, Renee Montgomery, Tina Charles, Asia Durr, Kelsey Plume, Chine Agumake, but she'll still be in the sports world, and she'll be hosting a show on ESPN Radio. Jessica Breland and Della Dawn. She hasn't made an official announcement yet, I don't believe, but all signs are pointing to her not playing, especially since the Mystics have confirmed they'll still cover her entire salary should she sit out, which is the right thing to do, given that whole situation with her medical exemption denial. And on Saturday, they're starting things off right. They got their new darling on the first game, Sabrina Ionescu and the Liberty taking on the Storm. We get Sue Bird back fully healthy. That should be a good game. But the game I'm most excited about for the whole weekend is actually the second game, the Sparks and the Mercury. Both of these teams are going to look totally different than they did last year. I'm just excited to see that three in Phoenix get down. They acquired Skylar Diggins-Smith to play point guard for them, get to move DT off the ball, which will help her. She's been battling some injuries lately. That should alleviate some pressure off of her. And then, of course, Brittany Griner in the middle. So yeah, man, it's exciting. We're almost here. I got my popcorn.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun. Just quick, a few updates on the Mystics. Like Ray said, it was media day. Pretty much every team's already got through media day. Biggest takeaways: if you got time, head over to the Focus account. Both Wizards and Mystics availabilities that we do take part in. Usually tweet quotes and stuff out from players and coaches. But biggest thing, it's a different team than last year. Yes, it's a very obvious statement, but it's something that people need to just accept. A lot of things have changed. Then the other thing is a lot of opportunity for so many different players on the roster to kind of prove what they can and can't do with an expanded role with this season. Another thing, we know they lack in size in the post because some of the things that they're missing. Anytime you don't have a Della Dawn and a Tina Charles, you're missing some size amongst many other things that they bring to the table. But what they lack in size in terms of the post, they have abundance on the wings. And then also stay tuned for our nightly recaps, both on WNBA side and NBA side, and for the daily previews. Cardell's going to be knocking those things out. So you guys definitely want to follow us on social to make sure you don't miss those. Just great little nuggets for each and every game on the men's and women's side, just to give you an eye for what to look at. Before we get out of here, DC United, Black and Red drew 1-1 with New England in their last match. They're still in the group stage of the MLS is Back tournament. They play their third game of the group stage tonight, about 10:30. It's pretty simple for them. They drew both of their they drew their first game and their second game, 2-2 against Toronto, and then 1-1 against New England. In the New England game, New England probably not too proud of themselves. They had the upper hand, a very, very, very sloppy pass in the back, and Federico Higuain, my man's making it happen. It's a vet, and he's you can't mess up with vets no matter what sport it is. You give a vet prime opportunity, most likely they're going to capitalize on it. So in terms of tonight, when DC takes on Montreal, if they win, they're guaranteed an advancement to the round of 16. If they draw, results because not only do the first two teams in the group go, but some of the best third place teams and groups have a chance to go as well. So, DC controls their destiny into advancing out of the group stage into the knockout round. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. But as we always, as we said at the beginning of the show, rather, DC Premier Combine highlights. Cardell took care of those. We want you guys to enjoy those. Get over to financeback.com. Give it on myminonsports.com. And again, it's a really good time to follow us all on our social mediums because stuff's about to get busy and we're going to have a whole lot more content for you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We'll catch you guys next week. Enjoy the DC Premier Combine highlights.
Pick your head up and play things.
The beautiful thing is that say we have 5 people, we can make it so everyone knows what they want. Like somebody does wants to do somebody wants to go play another game. Somebody wants to do, you want to do promo stuff. There's like the promo stuff, and I know I'm talking a lot. That's something like you have to explain. It sounds like a lot, but it's not that much. Because like in a regular basketball season, you play and that's